somebody today will take the liberty to tell me I don't. And most of all, don't tell him because he's outside. He thinks he's got me looking like that. But I did tell him when he was putting his nose on me that I didn't want it to look like Michael Jackson. And if any portion of it fell off, I was coming back to his office. Somebody wonders how I can laugh after having looked like that. I guess the good thing is I don't know what I look like now. Although I know I'm told that I'm charming. And that's the reason Sonya's been hanging around me. See, I believe that in whatever situation we're in, that somehow God needs to get the glory. What a lot of folk didn't know was at the same time I was driving that car, that I had a young boy who had been in the car with me. And the young boy, when he came to my house, he came through foster care, which I've been doing since 1972. When the county brought this young man to me, they brought him because he had already had some problems. In fact, he had already beat up his dad, had a fight with his dad and mom, and they had decided that they couldn't take care of him any longer. He had a rap sheet. He had done all kinds of things that had broken the law. And this was before my accident. They called me and said, would you mind taking this kid in? And I said, oh, bring him on over. Tell you, God has a way of working things out. This was a young boy that hadn't traveled very far, and I decided he'd go with me to Peoria that weekend. Anybody ever rode with a 15-year-old in their car on a long trip? My. The kid talked about my driving. Told me I drove, I don't have any little old ladies in here, do I? Told me I drove like a little old lady. He actually said that when I got rid of my car, I would be doing the road affair. He kept asking, can I drive, can I drive, can I drive? I kept saying, no, you can't drive, you can't drive, you can't drive. He kept saying, but I can drive better than you. He said, everything on the road is passing me. I said, well, you know, why don't you just tune the radio? Boy, was that a mistake. I came to my senses real quick. I said, you got 30 minutes and then I get 30 minutes. You can turn up for 30 minutes. I'll tell you, I never heard such music in all my life. And I'd already raised my own 5 children. They had songs that made the windows vibrate. The drums were so loud. And he was just sitting there tapping on the dashboard. And I was just trying to drive. Boy, when his 30 minutes got done, I put on some classical music. And my next time, I put on some old gospel music. I'll tell you, even Tammy Wynette would have sounded good. As soon as my 30 minutes was up, boom, he had the radio again. But I didn't mind because I knew that in his life, I was pouring a little bit of Johannes. I stopped and asked the question, I wonder if someone took the time to pour a little of their life into Jacob McNary's life if he would have been up on the bridge dropping the rock. Just a question, I'll let you ponder on it for a while. Somebody tells me that I have a tendency to kind of guilt people. I don't know where they would get that from. But as we rode back and forth to Peoria and then back home, it was the same scenario going and coming. We were on our way to Peoria because my daughter had her second son, and I was going out to help with baby dedication. I think in the Lutheran church you probably call it a christening or a first communion. No, I guess the christening and then first communion comes later, right? I hope. Y'all do sprinkle, don't you? Pour. Foul, what y'all do? In the Baptist church, we put you under. Right? Not as much water, but the water's still there, right? All right. As long as the soul gets clean, that's all that matters. Okay? Well, we were going out to celebrate, and I don't know about your family, but when we get together, we can't celebrate without having food. But that's why y'all are here, not in the sanctuary, right? That day we had some fried chicken and some greens. Y'all may not eat those, but potato salad, sweet potato pie. After we got done eating, I got down on the ground and I was the horse and my grandchildren got on my back and we did all kinds of things, played a little croquet and some badminton, and then it was time to go home. Got in our car and started all over again. We were almost home when we got to Springfield. I remember looking at my watch, it was about 11:30 at night. Last thing I remember seeing. And then I won't say that word here, broke loose. And that's the last thing I remember. Brian had asked me a question and I had to take out my Bible. I had a little Bible I carried in my jacket pocket and I found a scripture and I had read him a scripture. And I honestly don't remember anything after that, but I was never so glad that I had somebody in my car who I was trying to pour just a little bit of my life into. Tell you, I thank God he had his opportunity to drive. He pulled the car over after I got hit with a rock. We didn't hit a thing. Pulled it over to the side of the road, put it in park. In the middle of the night, he was able to find my cell phone and call 911, tell the officers as best he could where we were. I had taught him about mile markers when we were on our way out. He remembered that on the way back. They were able to find us in the middle of the night, and because of this troubled youth, I'm here today. And y'all can put your hands together. That's okay. It's not about me at all. It's all about what he did to save my life. I call him my angel. I call people like Steve Schmidt, who worked on me for months, which turned into years. See, y'all think that I'm just going on these mission trips because I want to. I got to work off all the work you did on me. I tell you that God has a way of getting our attention. While I was laying in the hospital room, I was mad. And I really need to be honest. Is that okay? I was really mad. Because I thought I was a great person, I thought I was a good person, and I thought I knew what I was doing. In life, I tried to pour into my natural children, into my adopted children, into my foster children, everything that my parents had poured into me. I made them go to Boy Scout camp. I drugged them to Bible school. I drugged them to Sunday school. I made them take voice lessons and piano lessons. I was there to volunteer in their school. I did it all. Taught them how to cook, taught them how to change tires and how to change transmissions on the car. Tell you, I did it all. I couldn't understand how could God allow something like this to happen to somebody as good as I was. All right, I hadn't done everything right. I remembered when I was in elementary school, I stole some rolls at the bakery a couple times when I was there for lunch. I remember stealing my daddy's cigarettes. I remember pouring tea in my daddy's brandy to make him think he had drink that hadn't been drank. All right, that's as far as I'm going. Let's just take it for granted I have not always been a perfect person. But still, God, I didn't think I did anything that vaguely would make me need to be hit in the head with a rock. Because when that rock hit me, it was like a bomb exploded in my face. I laid there in that bed and I argued with God. I know I wasn't a good Lutheran. Y'all wouldn't have argued like I did. But you know that portion where God asked Job, well, where were you when I created the world since you got so much mouth? You know, when Job's wife was nagging him and said, you ought to curse your God and die. Job came back and said, no, yet so he slay me, yet so I serve him. It's all my